Alex Stone couldn't help but notice. Rose arrived at work every morning with her arms trembling. Every single day, without fail. He finally decided to follow her, to find out why. What he discovered at the end of those 2 miles changed his life forever. Alex owned the largest charter boat business on the Pacific coast. He had 15 boats that crisscrossed the ocean, taking tourists to see whales, dolphins, and breathtaking sunsets. The sea was his livelihood. The sea was his life. It was something he saw every day from his office window, often without giving it a second thought. His company grossed $20 million a year, employed 200 people. He had contracts with luxury hotels all over the country. Tourists from the United States, Canada, and Europe paid fortunes for his premium tours. Alex had built it all from the ground up, starting with a single fishing skiff 30 years ago. Now he owned a sprawling oceanfront estate, a collection of luxury cars, a bank account that grew every month, and a life that anyone would envy. But something was missing. Something he couldn't quite put his finger on, an emptiness that no new boat could fill. But for Rose, his housekeeper of the past 2 years, the sea was something else entirely. It was a dream. It was a promise. It was the reason her arms trembled each morning when she arrived for work. If this story resonates with you in any way, if you feel there's someone in your life who sacrifices everything for love, stay tuned. Because what you're about to hear will change the way you see sacrifice. Rose was 34 years old. She was a petite woman, barely 5 feet tall and weighing just over 100 pounds. She didn't seem strong. She didn't appear capable of lifting heavy things. But her arms told a different story. Alex had hired her 2 years ago to clean his beachside estate, a 4,000 square foot house with an unobstructed ocean view. A house that cost more than Rose would earn in her entire life. A house that she cleaned Monday through Saturday. From 7 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, Rose was the perfect employee. She arrived on time, cleaned every nook and cranny, never complained, never asked for days off, never talked about her personal life. Alex knew nothing about her. He didn't know where she came from. He didn't know if she had family. He didn't know why her arms trembled until he decided to find out. It was a Friday in October. Alex was in his office reviewing the quarterly financial reports when he saw Rose leave through the back door. It was 5:10 in the afternoon. Her shift had ended 10 minutes earlier, but something caught his attention. Rose didn't walk towards the bus stop as usual. She walked in the opposite direction, towards the under-resourced neighborhood on the other side of the hill, towards a place where Alex had never been, and her arms were trembling more than usual. Alex felt a surge of curiosity, a curiosity he couldn't explain. Something told him he had to follow her, he had to know. So he did. Rose walked for 20 minutes through steep streets and dirt roads. She passed houses made of corrugated metal and yards filled with chickens. She passed children playing soccer with deflated balls and skinny dogs scavenging for food. She passed through a world that Alex didn't know existed, a world that was only 2 miles from his estate, but could have been on another planet. Finally, Rose arrived at a small house made of unpainted cinder blocks. The poorest house on the poorest street in the poorest neighborhood. A house with a rusted tin roof and windows without glass. Alex hid behind a tree. He watched. Rose went inside the house. 10 minutes later, she came out carrying something in her arms. It wasn't something, it was someone. It was a young man, thin, very thin, with his arms hanging lifelessly at his sides, with legs as limp as those of a rag doll, with his head resting on Rose's shoulder, and Rose began to walk towards the beach, carrying this man in her arms. Alex followed in silence, keeping his distance, trying to understand what he was seeing. Rose walked 2 miles. 2 miles carrying a man who weighed almost as much as she did. 2 miles through sandy paths and loose stones. 2 miles without stopping even once. Her arms were trembling. Her back was hunched over with the weight. Sweat ran down her forehead and soaked her work uniform, but she didn't stop. She didn't put the man down for even a second. And when she finally reached the beach, she did something that Alex would never forget. She sat down on the sand, with the man still in her arms, and the two of them looked out at the sea. The sun was setting. The sky was painted with shades of orange, pink, and violet. The waves crashed gently on the shore, and the man in Rose's arms began to cry. They weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of joy. They were the tears of someone who was seeing something they loved, something they had dreamed of seeing for years. Alex fell to his knees behind some palm trees. Tears began to fall down his own cheeks without him being able to stop them, because in that moment, he understood something. Rose wasn't carrying a stranger. She was carrying someone she loved, someone for whom she would walk 2 miles every day, someone for whom her arms trembled every morning, someone who couldn't see the sea for himself. Alex didn't approach them that night. He stayed hidden, watching, crying silently. He saw Rose and the man stay on the beach until the sun had completely disappeared. He saw her carry him back those 2 miles. He saw her enter the cinder block house and close the door, and he went back to his 4,000 square foot estate feeling like his life had no meaning. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He stayed on his terrace, looking at the same sea that Rose and the man had looked at hours before, the same sea that he saw every day without giving it a second thought, the same sea that for someone else was an unattainable dream. The next day, Alex did something he had never done in the 2 years that Rose had worked for him. He got up early, took a shower, dressed in casual clothes, not his business suit, and waited at the service entrance for Rose to arrive. Normally, Alex never saw his employees arrive. He was asleep or in his office when they came in. The employees were invisible to him. They arrived, did their job, and left without him noticing them. But that day was different. That day, Alex needed to see Rose. He needed to talk to her. He needed to understand. At 5 minutes before 7, he saw a small figure walking down the street. It was Rose. She was walking quickly, as always. She had her old bag hanging from her shoulder, and her arms were trembling, as always. Alex Stone felt a lump in his throat as he watched her. This petite woman, whom he'd never really noticed before. This woman carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. This woman who was stronger than any man he knew. He spoke to her. "Rose," he said as she approached the door, "I need to talk to you." Rose's eyes widened with fear. She probably thought she'd done something wrong. She probably thought he was going to fire her. "You're not in trouble," Alex clarified. "I just want to ask you something." Rose nodded, still tense. Alex took a deep breath. "I followed you yesterday," he said. "I saw what you do after work. I saw who you carry. I saw the beach." Rose paled. Her hands began to tremble just like her arms. "Sir, I can explain," she began, her voice breaking. "Mike's my brother. He has muscular dystrophy. He can't walk. He can't move his arms. He can't do anything for himself. And I just wanted him to see the ocean. It's the only thing he's ever dreamed of, since he was a kid, to see the ocean." Tears began to stream down Rose's cheeks. Tears she'd held back for years. Tears she never let her brother see. "If you're going to fire me for using my time after work for this, I understand," she said. "But please, let me finish this week. I need the money for Mike's medicine." Alex felt his heart breaking into pieces. "I'm not going to fire you," he said gently. "I just want to understand. Tell me everything. From the beginning." Rose looked at him with distrust. No one had ever asked her to tell her story before. No one had ever wanted to know. But something in Alex's eyes told her that this time was different. They sat down on the patio, the same patio where Alex had spent a sleepless night, and Rose began to speak. "Mike's 28, she said. "He was born healthy. He was a normal kid. He ran, played football, climbed trees. He dreamed of being a sailor. He wanted to sail all the oceans of the world." She paused, took a deep breath. When he was 10, he started falling a lot. We thought he was clumsy, that it was normal, but he fell too much. And one day, the doctor told us he had Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Alex had heard that name before, but he didn't know exactly what it meant. "What's that?" he asked. "It's a genetic disease," Rose explained. "It destroys the muscles, little by little. There's no cure. You can only slow it down, but eventually the muscles stop working. All the muscles." Her voice trembled. "The doctors explained to us that it was a mutation in the dystrophin gene. Without that protein, the muscle fibers are damaged every time they contract. It's like the body destroys itself with every movement, and there's nothing you can do to stop it." Alex listened in silence, feeling the weight of each word. Rose continued. "Mike was diagnosed at 10. I still remember that day. We were in the neurologist's office. Mike had just turned 10. He was wearing a jersey from his favorite football team. He could still walk. He could still run. He still dreamed of being a sailor." She paused to wipe away the tears. "The doctor told us that Mike would probably lose the ability to walk before he was 15, that eventually he'd need help breathing, that his heart was also a muscle, and that eventually it would stop working too. At 14, Mike couldn't climb stairs. At 18, he couldn't walk. At 25, he couldn't move his arms. Now he can only move his eyes and talk a little. And the doctors say that life expectancy is 25 to 30 years. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "He's 28, he said. Rose nodded. "Every day is a miracle," she whispered. "Every breath is a victory. And I promised him something when we were 20. I promised him that before he died, he'd see the ocean, not in photos, not in videos, the real ocean, with his own eyes." "Why didn't you take him before?" Alex asked. "Why wait so many years?" Rose looked down. "Because I didn't have a way to take him," she said. "Mike's wheelchair broke 3 years ago. One of the wheels came off and the frame was bent. I tried to fix it, but the metal was rusted. A new chair costs $1,500. I make $400 a month. Of that $400, $200 go to Mike's medicine. $50 for food, $50 for rent, $50 for electricity and water. I have $50 left for everything else. I could never save enough." Alex did a quick calculation in his head. $1,500. He spent more than that on a business dinner. "And without a chair," Rose continued. "The only way to move him is by carrying him. At first I could only carry him to the front door, then to the corner, then to the park that's 500 meters away, and I increased the distance little by little, until one day, a year and a half ago, I managed to carry him to the beach." "How did you do it?" Alex asked with genuine curiosity. Rose shrugged. "Every night I did exercises, push-ups, squats, anything that strengthened my arms and back. I didn't have money for a gym, so I used bottles filled with sand as weights. I did 100 push-ups every night before bed. My arms hurt so much that sometimes I couldn't lift a glass of water the next morning, but I kept going, because I knew that every push-up brought me closer to the day I could carry Mike to the ocean. But 2 miles, Alex said, every day, carrying him. How can you?" Rose shrugged. "Love gives you strength you didn't know you had," she said. "Mike weighs 99 pounds. I weigh 115. When I started carrying him, I could barely take 10 steps before I had to rest. But every day I got stronger. Every day I could carry him a little further. Now I can walk the 2 miles without stopping. My arms tremble, my back hurts, but I can do it." "How long have you been doing this?" Alex asked. 547 days, Rose replied, without hesitation. "A year and a half. Every day after work, rain or shine. Every day." Alex did the math in his head. 547 days. 2 miles there, 2 miles back. That was more than 690 miles carrying her brother. It was like walking from New York to Detroit and back, carrying 99 pounds in your arms. "And you've never missed a single day?" he asked incredulously. Rose shook her head. "Never. There were days when it rained so much that I could barely see the road. There were days when it was so hot that the sweat blinded me. There were days my arms ached so bad I thought they would break. But I never missed a day, because Miguel was waiting for me. Because the sunset only lasts a few minutes, and if I didn't take him, he'd miss it." Alex felt that each word from Rose was like a punch to the chest. A punch that was waking him up from a dream he'd been living in for far too many years. Alex fell silent. He had no words. How do you respond to something like that? How do you process that level of sacrifice? "Why didn't you tell me?" he finally asked. "I could have helped you. I could have done something." Rose shook her head. "You're my boss," she said. "I didn't want you to think I was begging for charity. I didn't want you to feel sorry for me. I just wanted to work, earn my money, and take care of my brother, nothing more." Alex felt the tears wanting to come again. "And your parents?" he asked. "Where are they?" Rose closed her eyes. The pain on her face was visible. "They died," she said. "When I was 18 and Miguel was 12, a car accident, drunk driver. They died instantly. And I was left alone with Miguel, with a 12-year-old boy who had a disease that was going to kill him." Slowly, Rose closed her eyes again. The pain was visible in every line of her face. "That day changed everything," she continued. "I was in my last year of high school. I had plans. I wanted to study nursing. I wanted to have a career. But when my parents died, all of that disappeared. Miguel needed me. There was no one else. Our grandparents had died years before. We had no close aunts or uncles. It was just the two of us against the world." Her voice broke, but she continued. "I had to drop out of school the day after the funeral. I found work as a cleaner in a diner. I worked 12 hours a day for minimum wage. I came home exhausted, but I still had to take care of Miguel, bathe him, feed him, do his physical therapy exercises, take him to his doctor's appointments." "And you did all that alone," Alex said. "Alone," Rose confirmed. "For 16 years. Alone." Alex didn't know what to say. He just stood there, listening, feeling the weight of every word. "I had to quit high school," Rose continued. "I had to start working. I cleaned houses, washed laundry, babysat, anything I could do to pay for Miguel's medicine, to keep a roof over our heads, to feed him." She paused. "I never got married. I never had children. I never had a life outside of Miguel, but I don't regret it. He's my brother. He's the only thing I have, and I promised him that he would see the ocean." Alex got up from his chair. He walked to the edge of the patio. He looked at the ocean that stretched out before him, the same ocean that he took for granted every day. "I have 15 boats," he said without turning around. 15 boats that cross this ocean carrying tourists, people who pay thousands of dollars to see whales and dolphins, people who get on my boats like it's the most normal thing in the world." He turned to look at Rose. "And you carry your brother 2 miles every day, so he can see the same ocean from the shore." Rose said nothing. She just looked at him with watery eyes. "Are you ashamed of what you do?" Alex asked. Rose shook her head. "Never," she said. "It's the only thing I can give him, the only thing that's in my hands. I don't have money for doctors. I don't have money for therapy. I don't have money for anything. But I have my arms, and my arms can carry him to the ocean." Alex felt something break inside him, something that had been asleep for years. Something that had been lost among the business deals and the numbers and the shareholder meetings. What would you do in Alex's place? What would you do if you discovered that your employee, the woman who cleans your house without ever complaining, carries her dying brother 2 miles every day to fulfill a promise? What would you do if you knew that she does this not for money, not for recognition, but for pure love? Alex could ignore what he had seen. He could go back to his normal life. He could continue looking at the ocean from his office without thinking about Rose or Miguel. He could pretend that he never followed his employee, that he never saw those trembling arms carrying an impossible weight. But he couldn't. Something had changed inside him, something he couldn't ignore. He had seen love in its purest form. He had seen sacrifice without expecting anything in return. He had seen a small woman carrying mountains for her brother, and that had changed him forever. If you haven't felt anything yet, check your pulse, because what's coming is the moment that changed everything. Alex didn't go to work that day. He cancelled all his meetings, he fired all his assistants, and he stayed in his office thinking for hours. He was 52 years old. He had built a shipping empire from the ground up. He had more money than he could spend in 3 lifetimes. He had boats, houses, cars, investments. He had everything that society considers successful. But he had never carried anyone 2 miles for love. He had never sacrificed anything for another person. He had never loved anyone the way Rose loved Miguel, and that made him feel empty, more empty than he had ever felt in his life. Alex picked up the phone. He called his assistant. "I need you to get something," he said. "A van, adapted for people in wheelchairs, the best one there is, by tomorrow." His assistant seemed confused, but didn't ask questions. He never asked questions. "And a wheelchair," Alex added. "Electric. One of those that you control with your chin or with your eyes. I don't care about the cost. I need it by tomorrow." "Yes, sir," the assistant replied. Alex hung up and looked out the window. The ocean was still there, shining under the afternoon sun, indifferent to everything, indifferent to Miguel's pain, indifferent to Rose's sacrifice, indifferent to the revelation that Alex had just had. But he would no longer be indifferent. Never again. The next day, Alex arrived at Rose's house early. Before she started her shift, the van was parked in the driveway, white, new, with an automatic wheelchair ramp and special leather seats. Rose arrived at 7 o'clock as usual. She stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the van. "What is this?" she asked. Alex held out the keys to her. "It's yours," he said. Rose looked at him uncomprehendingly. Her eyes went from Alex to the van, and from the van to Alex. Her brain couldn't process what she was seeing. "I can't accept this," she said finally, taking a step back. "It's too much. Sir, this must cost a fortune. I have no way to pay you back. I have no way to—" Her voice broke. The tears began to fall. Alex shook his head gently. "You don't have to pay for it," he said. "It's a gift, not a loan, not a debt. A gift for you and for Michael." "But why?" Rose asked, her voice trembling. "Why would he do this? I'm just his employee. I only clean his house. I'm not anyone special." Alex looked her straight in the eyes. "You are the most special person I've ever met," he said. "You're stronger than any man I know. You have more love than anyone I've ever seen. You carry mountains for your brother without asking for anything in return. You're not just anyone special. You're the most special person in the world." "But why?" Rose asked, tears welling up in her eyes. "Why would he do this for us?" Alex paused for a moment. How to explain something he barely understood himself. "Because you taught me something," he said finally. "You taught me that love isn't what you say. It's what you do. It's carrying your brother 2 miles even when your arms are aching. It's sacrificing everything to keep a promise. It's doing the impossible because someone you love needs it." He paused. He looked out at the ocean shimmering behind them. The same ocean he saw every day without even really noticing it. "I've made millions of dollars," he continued. "I've built an empire. I have boats that cross oceans. But I've never done anything that really mattered. I've never helped anyone. Truly. I've never touched a life the way you touch Michael's. Every day." His eyes moistened. "I'm 52 years old and I've never learned the most important lesson in life. You taught it to me without saying a word. You taught me that success isn't what you have. It's what you give. It's what you sacrifice. It's who you carry in your arms." He looked directly at Rose. This isn't the least I can do. It's the least any human being should do when they see someone like you. It's the bare minimum. And even then, I know I can never match what you do for Michael every day." Rose started to cry. She couldn't hold it back. She cried for everything. For her dead parents, for the years of sacrifice, for the sleepless nights taking care of Michael, for the 2 miles every day, for everything she had never allowed herself to release. And Alex hugged her like he had never hugged anyone before, like a father hugs a daughter, like one human being hugs another human being who is suffering. "But that's not all," Alex said when Rose calmed down a little. "There's something else." He opened the back door of the van. Inside was an electric wheelchair, one of the most advanced on the market, with controls adapted for people with limited mobility. It was a Permobil F5 wheelchair, one of the best in the world. It had a tilt system to prevent pressure sores. It had seat elevation so Michael could reach high shelves. It had suspension for uneven terrain. It had LED lights for nighttime. It had everything that modern technology could offer. And it cost more than $30,000. An amount that Rose would never have earned in her entire life. "This chair is controlled with the chin," Alex explained, pointing to a small sensor near the headrest. "Michael only has to move his chin slightly to control the direction. Forward to go forward, back to go backward, sideways to turn. He doesn't need his arms or his legs, just his chin." Rose stared at the chair in disbelief. "Michael will be able to move alone," Alex continued. "He can go wherever he wants. He can go out to the yard. He can go to the corner store. He can go to the beach if he wants, without needing you to carry him." Rose looked at the chair, her eyes wide. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. "How much did this cost?" she whispered. "It doesn't matter," Alex said. "What matters is that now Michael can go to the ocean whenever he wants, and you can rest your arms." Rose threw herself into his arms again. She cried for 10 minutes straight, and Alex let her cry, because he understood that those tears were for years. They were the release of a weight she had carried alone for too long. But Alex wasn't finished. "There's one more thing," he said when Rose finally pulled away. "I want to meet Michael, and I want to take him to a special place." "Where?" Rose asked. Alex smiled. "To the ocean," he said, "but not from the shore. From inside it." That afternoon, Alex drove the van to the cinder block house where Rose and Michael lived. When he walked in for the first time, he felt his heart sink. The house was tiny, just one room for everything. A mattress on the floor where Rose slept, an old medical bed where Michael was, a kitchenette with 2 burners, a bathroom that barely had space to turn around, and on the walls, dozens of pictures of the ocean, magazine clippings, old postcards, internet printouts on bond paper, all showing oceans, beaches, boats, sunsets over the water. There were pictures of the Caribbean with turquoise waters, of the Mediterranean with its rocky coasts, of the Pacific with giant waves, of all the oceans in the world that Michael could never visit. In a corner was a world map marked with colored pushpins. Each pushpin represented a place Michael wanted to see: the Caribbean, Hawaii, the Greek islands, Australia, New Zealand. The map was full of pushpins, full of dreams that would never come true. Next to the map was a small bookcase. Alex went over to look at it. All the books were about the ocean, about sailing, about ships, about maritime explorers. There were biographies of Christopher Columbus, of Magellan, of James Cook. There were novels by Jules Verne and Herman Melville. There were guides for identifying fish and seabirds. "It's his collection," Rose explained. "Since he was a child, he's collected everything related to the sea, books, photos, maps, you name it. He says that when he looks at them, he can imagine what it feels like to be there. He says that he closes his eyes and he can hear the waves. He can smell the salt. He can feel the wind." Alex looked at Michael. The young man was watching him with those bright eyes that contrasted so much with his immobile body. Alex walked towards the bed where Michael was. The young man looked at him with large, curious eyes, eyes that shone despite everything, eyes that still had life. "You must be Alex," Michael said with difficulty. His voice was weak but clear. "Rose told me about you." "And you're Michael," Alex replied, "the one who dreams of the ocean." Michael tried to smile. His facial muscles no longer responded well, but the effort was visible. "I don't just dream of the ocean," he said. "I see it every day, thanks to my sister. She takes me to see it." "I know," Alex said. "I saw her. I saw how she carried you 2 miles. I saw how you watched the sunset together." Michael's eyes moistened. "She's incredible, isn't she?" he said. "My sister, the strongest woman in the world, not because of her muscles, because of her heart." Alex felt a lump rise in his throat. "That's why I'm here," he said. "I want to ask you a question, Miguel." "What question?" Alex moved closer. "Have you ever been in the ocean?" he asked. "Not just seeing it from the shore. In it, on a boat, feeling the waves, smelling the salt, being part of the ocean." Miguel slowly shook his head. "No," he whispered. "I only see it from the beach. It's more than I ever thought I'd have. But being in it, that's impossible for someone like me." Alex smiled. "Nothing is impossible," he said. "I have a boat, a big boat with room for your new wheelchair. And tomorrow, if you want, I'm going to take you to the ocean, the real ocean, the ocean you've always dreamed of." Miguel's eyes widened so much they looked like they would pop out of their sockets. Tears started streaming down his cheeks. He couldn't stop them. "Are you serious?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Completely serious," Alex said. "It's time you experience the ocean from the inside." Miguel looked at his sister. Rose was crying again, but this time her tears were of pure joy. "Rose," Miguel said, "we're going to the ocean, the real ocean, on a boat." Rose nodded, unable to speak. She just went to her brother and kissed his forehead. "Yes," she whispered, "we're going to the ocean." Some people are going to pause this video here. They're going to say it's too much, that they can't process so many emotions, and that's okay. Breathe, take a moment. But I promise you, what's coming is worth it. If this story is helping you, if you feel like something is changing inside you, consider supporting this channel. Your support allows stories like this to reach more people who need to hear them. People who carry mountains in silence. People who need to know that they are not alone. Because I haven't even told you what happened when Miguel finally was on the ocean. The day Alex took Miguel to the ocean was the most important day of his life. Not Miguel's life, Alex's life. Because that day, Alex understood something he had forgotten many years ago. He understood that success isn't measured in boats or houses or bank accounts. Success is measured in the lives you touch, in the love you give, in the mountains you carry for others. The next day dawned perfect. Blue sky without a single cloud, ocean as calm as a mirror, sun bright but not too hot, as if the universe knew something special was going to happen. Alex arrived at 8 in the morning with the van. He helped Rose get Miguel into his new wheelchair. He showed him how the controls worked. Miguel, with just a slight movement of his chin, could direct the chair forward, backward, sideways. For the first time in 3 years, Miguel moved on his own. At first it was a small movement, an inch forward, then another. Miguel was focused, his chin moving slightly to control the chair, his eyes shining with a mixture of concentration and joy. 2 inches more, 3, 4, and suddenly, the chair was moving smoothly. Miguel had figured out how it worked. He had found the rhythm. Tears were falling down his face, but he didn't stop smiling. He spun in circles in the small room. He went to the door. He backed up. He spun again. It was like watching a child learn to walk for the first time. Each movement was a celebration. He went out to the patio. The sun hit his face. The fresh air filled his lungs. And Miguel looked up at the sky, at that blue sky he rarely saw because he was always inside the house. "I'm free," he whispered, his voice breaking with emotion. "For the first time in 3 years, I'm free." Rose covered her mouth with her hands. Tears were falling uncontrollably. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her brother, the same brother she had carried 547 times to the beach, was now moving on his own. Now he could go wherever he wanted. Now he had independence. Alex watched in silence, feeling his heart expand in a way he had never experienced. He had made millions of dollars in his life. He had closed huge deals. He had bought houses and boats and cars, but he had never felt what he was feeling at that moment. "This is what it means to give," he thought. "This is what it really means to change a life." Rose was crying, unable to contain herself. Seeing her brother move on his own after so long was more than her heart could bear. Alex took them to the harbor where his boats were. He chose the biggest one, the most comfortable one, the one with the most space for the wheelchair. The employees prepared everything: special ramps, adapted seats, everything necessary for Miguel to be safe and comfortable. And at 9 in the morning, the boat set sail. Alex had chosen his largest boat, the Hope of the Sea, a 60-foot yacht he normally reserved for his most premium clients. He had a special ramp and safety rails installed for the wheelchair. He had hired 2 nurses who would be available if Miguel needed medical attention. He had prepared everything to make this day perfect. The boat's engine roared softly, and the vessel began to move. First, slowly, traversing the protected bay, then faster, heading out into the open ocean. Miguel was on deck, his wheelchair secured but free to turn. The sea wind was hitting his face. The salt was wetting his lips. The waves were making the boat rock gently. The smell of the ocean filled his lungs. The sound of the seagulls came from all directions. And Miguel closed his eyes. "I can smell it," he said, his voice breaking. "I can feel it. The ocean. It's everywhere. Inside me, around me. I am part of it." He opened his eyes and looked around. He looked at the waves stretching to the horizon. He looked at the seagulls flying over the boat. He looked at the blue sky that merged with the sea in a perfect line. "I always dreamed of this," he said, his voice trembling. "Since I was a child. I saw pictures of the ocean and wondered what it would be like, how it would feel. And now I know. Now I'm here. Now I'm part of the ocean." Rose was at his side, holding his still hand. Tears were falling down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. She let them fall, let them mix with the salt of the sea, let them become part of the ocean, as Miguel had always wanted. "We did it, Miguel," she whispered. "We fulfilled the promise. You're on the ocean. Not seeing it from the shore, inside it, being part of it, like you always dreamed." Miguel opened his eyes. He looked at his sister with an expression that Alex would never forget. It was an expression of love so pure, so deep, that it hurt to see it. "You brought me here," Miguel said. "Not this boat, not this rich man. You, each of those 2 miles you walked, carrying me, brought me here. Every time your arms trembled, you were bringing me closer to the ocean." Rose couldn't respond. She just hugged him carefully, with the tenderness of someone embracing something fragile and precious. Alex stepped away to give them privacy. He stood at the bow of the boat, looking at the horizon. The same horizon he'd seen thousands of times. But today, it looked different. Today, he understood what the ocean meant to someone who never thought they'd see it up close. The boat sailed for 3 hours. They were the most beautiful 3 hours of Michael's life. First, they saw dolphins, a pod of 8 bottlenose dolphins, swimming alongside the boat, as if they were escorting it. They leaped out of the water and seemed to smile. Michael laughed. It was the first time Rose had heard that laugh in years. Then they saw pelicans flying low, skimming the surface of the water with their wings. They saw flying fish, jumping from one wave to another. They saw a huge manta ray, that passed right under the boat, its dark shadow moving slowly in the crystal-clear water, and they saw the sun reflecting on the water, creating thousands of diamonds of light. The ocean sparkled, as if it were made of jewels. Every wave was a new explosion of color. Each moment was a living postcard. Alex ordered the boat to stop at a special spot that he knew well. It was a place where humpback whales passed during their annual migration. It wasn't whale season yet, but sometimes a straggler would appear, and that day, the universe decided to give Michael one last miracle. In the distance, a column of water rose toward the sky. Then another and another. Whales, Michael whispered, his eyes wider than ever. And they're whales. There were 3 humpback whales, a mother, a father, and a calf. They passed within 50 yards of the boat. The mother breached the water in a spectacular jump, her enormous body soaring into the sky before crashing down with a roar that could be heard for miles. Michael cried, Rose cried, Alex cried, everyone on the boat cried, and Michael didn't close his eyes for a moment. He wanted to see everything, to burn it into his memory, to keep it forever. When the boat started heading back to port, Michael said something that made everyone stop. "Now I know what it's like to be inside the dream," he said, his voice clear and steady. "It's better than I imagined, much better." Alex walked over to him. "You can come whenever you want," he said. "This boat is yours too now. Whenever you want to see the ocean, you just have to say so." Michael looked at him directly. "Thank you," he said, "but not just for the boat, for seeing my sister, for seeing what she does for me. Most people don't see people like her. They're invisible, but you saw her, and that means more than any boat." Alex felt the words catch in his throat. "She taught me something," he said. "She taught me that love has no limits, that true sacrifice asks for nothing in return, that there are people in this world who carry mountains for those they love." Michael nodded slowly. "My sister carries mountains," he said. "She carries mountains every day, and she never complains. She never asks for recognition. She just does it, because she loves me." Alex looked at Rose, who was wiping Michael's face with a tissue. Her arms were no longer trembling. There was something different about her, a peace he hadn't seen before. 6 months have passed since that day on the boat. 6 months that have been the best of Michael's life, and also of Rose's life, and also of Alex's life. Every week, without fail, the 3 of them go out to sea together. Sometimes they go to see dolphins. Sometimes they go fishing. Sometimes they simply sail aimlessly, letting the wind take them wherever it wants. Michael has created a journal of his travels, a notebook where he writes down everything he sees, every dolphin, every whale, every sunset, every moment of happiness. It's a notebook full of joy, full of gratitude, full of love. The doctors who treat him can't believe his progress. They say that Michael should have died 3 years ago, according to the statistics. They say that patients with Duchenne muscular dystrophy rarely live beyond the age of 28. But Michael is 28 and a half, and he's still fighting, still smiling, still seeing the ocean. The doctors say he's exceeded all expectations. They say his positive attitude is part of the reason. They say having something to live for makes all the difference. And Michael does have something to live for. He has the ocean. He has his sister. He has Alex. He has a family that he found when he least expected it. Alex kept his promise. Every week, without fail, he takes Michael and Rose on his boat. They've seen whales. They've seen sea turtles. They've seen sunsets that take your breath away. They've created memories that will last longer than any lifetime. Rose no longer carries Michael 2 miles. She doesn't have to anymore. The adapted van allows her to take him anywhere. The electric wheelchair allows him to move on his own, but sometimes, when they're on the beach watching the sunset, Rose still holds him in her arms. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. Because those arms that trembled so much found their purpose. They found their reason for being. They found the purest love that exists. Alex changed too. He no longer spends his days locked in his office looking at numbers. He no longer sees the ocean as a business. Now he sees it as Michael sees it, as a gift, as a miracle, as something we should never take for granted. He created a foundation. It's called the Arms of Love Foundation. It helps families who care for people with degenerative diseases. It gives them wheelchairs. It gives them adapted vans. It gives them medical equipment. It gives them what Rose never had. In the first year, the foundation helped 120 families. Families like Rose and Michael's. Families where someone carries someone every day. Families where love overcomes any physical limitation. Alex personally visits each family. He listens to their stories. He meets their loved ones. And every time he sees someone carrying another, he thinks of Rose, of her trembling arms, of her 2 daily miles, of her unwavering love. And on every wheelchair he donates, there's a small plaque that says, "For those who carry mountains for love." Rose now works for the foundation. She no longer cleans houses. Now she helps other families who are in the same situation she was in. She teaches them how to care for their loved ones. She teaches them how to stay strong. She teaches them that they are not alone. And every time a new family receives help, Rose tells them her story. She tells them about Michael, about the 2 miles, about the ocean, and she tells them something that Alex will never forget. She says, "Love gives you strength you didn't know you had. You just have to be willing to use them." This story shouldn't exist. There shouldn't be a housekeeper who carries her brother almost 2 miles every day so he can see the ocean. There shouldn't be a young man with muscular dystrophy who dreams of being part of the sea. There shouldn't be a millionaire who learns the meaning of love by watching his employees. But it does. Because the world, despite all the bad, still has people like Rose. People who carry mountains, people who keep promises, people who love without asking for anything in return. And if you're listening to this, if you've made it this far, I want you to do something. Think about someone who carries a mountain for you, someone who sacrifices without complaining, someone who loves you even if they never say it with words. It could be your mom, working 2 jobs so you can study. It could be your dad, who never complains even when his back hurts. It could be your sister, who babysits your kids so you can work. It could be your friend, who's always there even when you don't ask. We all have someone who carries mountains for us. The question is, do we realize it and say thank you? Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you have time. Today, now, in this moment, before it's too late. Because the people who carry mountains don't live forever. And one day when they're gone, you're going to regret all the times you didn't say thank you. All the times you took their sacrifice for granted. All the times you didn't see them. Because people like Rose don't expect recognition. They don't expect rewards. They just hope the people they love are happy. And sometimes, a simple thank you is all they need to keep going. The last time I saw Michael, it was in a video Alex sent me. It was Michael's 29th birthday, a birthday the doctors said he'd never reach, a birthday that was a miracle in itself. They were on the boat, like every week for the past 6 months. The sun was setting over the ocean. The sky was painted with every color imaginable, intense orange near the horizon, soft pink higher up, deep violet where day met night. And Michael, in his wheelchair on the deck, was looking at the horizon with tears in his eyes, tears of happiness, tears of gratitude, tears of someone who knows that every moment is a gift. Around him were balloons and streamers. There was a cake in the shape of a boat with 29 candles. There were handmade signs by the children of families that the foundation had helped, with messages like, "Happy birthday, Michael," and "Thank you for inspiring us." Rose was by his side. Her arms were no longer trembling. Her heart was no longer carrying the weight alone. She had help, she had support, she had someone who had finally seen her sacrifice. But more importantly, she had hope. For the first time in 16 years, she had hope that the future could be better, that she wasn't alone, that there are good people in the world who see the invisible. And Michael said something that made me cry for hours. He said, "The sea isn't salt water. The sea is liquid love. And I'm swimming in my sister's love every day of my life." Rose hugged him with all the love she had. Alex watched them from afar, feeling his own eyes welling up, and the sun slowly disappeared into the horizon, painting the sky with all the colors Michael had always dreamed of seeing. Orange, like the oranges they ate when they were kids. Pink, like the flowers their mother planted in the garden. Violet, like the sunsets Michael read about in his adventure books. Red, like the love Rose felt for her brother. The sun disappeared, as if promising to return tomorrow, as it always does. As love always returns. As Rose always returned to carry her brother. 547 days carrying him to the beach. 547 sunsets shared. 547 promises kept. And now, thanks to Alex, she doesn't have to carry him anymore. But she still does sometimes, because love doesn't need reasons. Love simply exists. Love simply carries. You have two choices now. You can close this video and forget what you heard, go on with your day, do what you were going to do. Or you can do something different. You can call someone who carries mountains for you. You can thank someone who sacrifices without asking for anything. You can be, even if just for a moment, like Alex, someone who finally sees the invisible. Because the world doesn't need more people who look at the ocean without seeing it. The world needs more people who carry others to the shore, almost 2 miles at a time, 1 step at a time, 1 act of love at a time, like Rose, like we all should be. And if this story moved you, if you feel something changed inside you, don't keep that feeling to yourself. Share it. Tell it to someone. Leave a comment telling your own story of someone who carries mountains for you. I've read hundreds of comments from people who have someone like Rose in their lives. Mothers who work 3 jobs, fathers who never give up, siblings who sacrifice everything, friends who are always there. The world is full of people who carry mountains, people who never ask for recognition, people who love in silence. And every time we tell their stories, we give them a voice. Every time we see them, we give them dignity. Every time we say thank you, we give them strength to keep going. Because stories like this deserve to be told, and people like Rose deserve to be seen, deserve to be heard, deserve to be loved back. Thank you for listening until the end. Thank you for staying when you could have closed the video. Thank you for letting this story into your heart. And remember, the sea isn't salt water. The sea is liquid love. And we are all swimming in someone's love. The love of our mothers, the love of our fathers, the love of our siblings, the love of all the people who carry mountains for us. We just have to open our eyes to see it. We just have to stop for a moment and look around us. Look at the people who are always there. Look at the people who never ask for anything. Look at the people who love in silence. Because those people are the true heroes, not the millionaires, not the famous, not the powerful. The heroes are the Roses of the world. The people who carry others to the sea. The people who keep promises even when their arms ache. That's all Michael wanted to say. And it's all we need to learn. The love that carries mountains. The love that crosses almost 2 miles. The love that asks for nothing in return. That's the only love that matters. And this kind of love, this kind of dedication, it's within reach of all of us. We just have to open our arms, like Rose opened hers. 547 times, never missing a single one, out of love, solely for love. Mikey is still alive. He still sees the ocean every week. He still feels the wind on his face. He still cries tears of joy. Every time he spots a dolphin or a whale breaching the surface, the doctors call it a miracle. They say he should have passed away years ago, that every day he has is a gift. But Mikey knows the truth. He's not alive because of a medical miracle. He's alive because he has something to live for. He's alive because someone carried him all the way to the sea. He's alive because his sister's love is stronger than any disease, and Rose will continue to carry him. Not because she has to, but because she wants to, because love isn't measured in miles. Love is measured in outstretched arms, in promises kept, in sunsets shared, 2 miles at a time, all the way to the ocean, until the very end, for love. Always for love, because love is the only thing that truly matters. And Rose knew that from the very beginning.